Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ariana, also known as Vinyl Glitz, and in today's video I'm going to be giving a thorough review of my newest purchase of this pink DTF printer that is going all around TikTok that you may or may not be familiar with. So if you would like to see what my thoughts are, what the process was, and if I would recommend it to you, just go ahead and keep on watching. So you guys, I did a thing and I bought another DTF printer. As you can see, it's pretty in pink in the back. And I saw this printer on TikTok going around. It is from the brand Haolic. It was purchased from Alibaba. I paid around $2,700 for the printer, ink, DTF film, DTF powder, and the oven. Now, when I first got this printer, it arrived. It did not arrive with any instructions. I was not alarmed by that. I just reached out to the guy who sold me the printer from Alibaba, and he put me in a group with a technician that was able to remote into my computer and set up the printer, so there was no issues with getting everything set up. We did a couple of test prints and they printed beautifully, and I was in love with this printer. However, I did have a couple of issues shortly after that. I was printing a design and I noticed there are ruffles of the film, and they will tell you that if you notice that the film is ruffling up, you should immediately stop the design, but I didn't realize that, so I just allowed it to continue to print. And then the film crumbled up from the print head. The print head basically like crumbled the entire film up, and that's where a lot of my problems started. So partially I would say that's user error, but after that I was able to get it back printing. But then I noticed that my film wasn't moving. So I reached out to the technician and he basically walked me through the steps. So I had to essentially take apart this entire printer. This outside cover basically comes apart, and I had to disconnect and reconnect some of the plugs that are on the inside. And after I did that, it printed fine and everything has been fine since. But initially, those few issues that I had within like 2 days after getting it, those were a little bit frustrating with me paying so much money for this printer. I was not expecting to have any issues with it. So those 2 issues did kind of throw me off a little bit, but I have been able to print and everything has been printing fine thus far. Now, as far as the oven, when I first initially tried it, it would not heat up past 27 degrees Fahrenheit. So I reached out to the tech again, and then he basically walked me through the steps to remove the back cover and basically do the same thing that I did with this, like reinstall the wires. And on this oven, I did notice that there was a wire that was loose, so I had to reattach that wire. And once I did that, the oven has been working. However, the one thing that I don't like about this oven, it does not seem to heat evenly when the DTF transfers are curing. There will be some areas of the transfer where it's not properly cured, and I have to add more time to it, so it doesn't seem to heat evenly. So I'm not so sure about the oven. And also the printer, with the price point of it and the issues that I had with me having to basically take the entire machine apart, that was a little bit annoying. When you're spending your money on something, you don't want to be the technician and having to fix things so soon. So if you are considering buying a DTF printer, I do want you to do your research. When I saw this printer on TikTok, the images were printing beautifully, and I'm not going to say that my images did not print beautifully. I just would say that I wasn't fully aware of the issues that could arise with this printer. And as I've been doing more research, I have realized that I'm not the only person who has had issues with this printer. And I will notice that a lot of the people on TikTok who were promoting this printer, their printer has their business name on it. So I'm curious if they actually were had an incentive to promote the printer, so they're not giving a thorough review of it. But I paid for this printer with all of my hard-earned money, and so I'm going to give you a honest, thorough review so you know what you're spending your money on. You do want to do your research, because DTF printers, and this is my second DTF printer, DTF printers can be a lot of maintenance, it can be a lot of headache. Now I will say that one thing that I do like about this printer as opposed to my previous DTF printer, which was a Pro-Colored L1800 that was also purchased from Alibaba. This printer prints faster and it doesn't have as many issues as my previous printer. The other printer was just a complete headache. I hated it. This one, it's okay. It has its little kinks, but I was able to work them out with the technician. And by the way, I do want to say that the technician has been great with troubleshooting any of my issues that I've had with the oven as well as the printer. So do keep that in mind, that the technicians are great with walking you through the steps. Everything that I have tried has resolved my issues thus far. I'm just gonna hope that I don't have any issues in the future that I'm unable to correct or fix. But other than that, I think it's a pretty decent printer. And if you want to see how this printer prints, just stay tuned. I will be showing you that step as well. And then I'm also going to show you how this oven works so you can get a full-on review before you decide to make your purchase. So just stay tuned for that. And also, before I go ahead and print, I do want to say that whenever you have any DTF printer, you have to do maintenance daily and daily printing so that your printer doesn't get clogged up. So on one of these softwares, it will give you an option to clean it, and also on the printer itself it has a clean button on it. This screen is actually touched, which is really cool. So you want to clean it, it'll clean its own self, and then you want to do a nozzle status print where it'll print little lines on the film, and it'll allow you to see if your printer is printing properly. If there are no missing gaps in the lines on the nozzle status print, then you are good to go. I've already done that and it is good to go, so I'm going to go ahead and print my fall design, so just stay tuned for that. And it is now starting to print. It is 7:31, so I will let you know what time this print finishes so you will get an idea of how fast this printer prints. And it is now 7:35, so it took about 4 minutes to print this 11-inch design, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it off of this film. And I did cut the machine off because I don't like the noise. It's a little bit loud. It's not loud, but it's just unnecessary noise that I don't like. So I cut it off, and I'm going to show you the print. I just use my X-Acto knife and just cut it. And here is the design. I think the quality is amazing, so you do want to keep that in mind. Which brings me to another issue that I had with this printer at one point. There were lines printing on my design. I'm not sure why that was happening, but it eventually resolved itself. I continued to clean and it is all resolved itself. As you can see, the quality is amazing. So now I'm going to apply the film and cure this design. Actually, I'm going to apply the powder. I'm not sure if I said film or powder. I'm going to apply this powder to cure it. Well, the entire transfer is covered in powder, because this is what is going to cure on your transfer in order to adhere it to your shirt or whatever you're applying the transfer to. It's not limited to just applying it to shirts. You can also apply it to bags and canvases and other material. And you do want to wear gloves, but I don't have any gloves on hand, so we're just going to shake that off. And we're going to allow for our oven to heat up. I am heating it at 160 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to heat the transfer for about 140 seconds. And most importantly, whenever you are curing your DTF transfers, you do want to wear a respirator mask so that the fumes are not, you're not inhaling those fumes. So do keep that in mind. And you also want to be in a well ventilated area, just so you know. So we're going to let that heat up, and then we're going to cure our transfer. And we are joined by a special guest named Kaiser. This is my little baby Kaiser. Say hey, Kaiser. Say hi, YouTube. Okay, I'm going to get him some food, and then I'm going to come back to cure that. Okay, so I do have my N95 mask on, but here is the back of it fully cured. It should have a orange peel texture. It's kind of hard to see with my ring light, but it is fully cured, so I didn't have any issues with that particular design. But that is it for this video. I hope that you found it helpful, and if you have any comments or questions, just leave them down below. Thank you all for watching. I will see you all in my next upload, and as always, bye.